The anime begins by introducing the main character, Maru Sueharu, a high school student who secretly falls in love with Kachi Shirokusa, or Kachi for short. Kachi is not just any ordinary student, she is a talented writer who has already won prestigious awards for her first work. Kachi's beauty also makes her widely known, often doing photoshoots that further elevate her name. However, for Maru, the most important thing is that Kachi is his first love. One day, he finally gathers the courage to chat with Kachi and compliments her book. This makes Kachi look very happy. Even so, Maru's best friend, Kai Tetsuhiko, reminds him not to get his hopes up because he thinks Kachi is a girl who is hard to approach, especially with her cold and rude attitude towards others. But Maru has a different opinion. He explains that he and Kachi are actually quite close. They have talked a few times since he realized they live nearby. According to him, outside of school, Kachi is actually much friendlier and more innocent. However, Maru refuses to admit that he loves Kachi, because he thinks she is not the type of girl he could expect to love him back. It seems like everyone knows that too. Kai suggests that Maru would be better off approaching Shida Kuroha, who is known as Shida, his neighbor and childhood friend. This suggestion immediately makes Maru anxious, but Kai casually says that Shida is on a different level. If it weren't for their friendship since childhood, Maru might not even have the courage to talk to her. Maru admits that he is very aware of that. Shida, who is super beautiful and popular among many guys, certainly has her own charm. He can't deny that he truly admires her in many ways. While Maru is lost in thought, suddenly Shida enters the classroom and immediately teases him. In a mischievous tone, she says she didn't expect him to think about her like that. Maru's panicked face only makes Shida more amused, and in a joking tone, she says that as a big sister, she enjoys seeing Maru in such a confused state. Maru, feeling increasingly embarrassed, hurriedly asks Shida to stop calling him that. But Shida just laughs, explaining that she likes to call him that because she feels like she often has to take care of him, even more than her own siblings. Before she can finish speaking, Maru has already run away. Shida then accuses him of always avoiding her ever since he rejected her before. The whole class watching the scene is immediately shocked. Maru, starting to panic, quickly apologizes. After the atmosphere calms down a bit, he finally admits that he actually regrets rejecting Shida a little. He realizes that they could have fun together as a couple, but for now, he just can't do it. Hearing this, Shida just smiles widely and casually says that it was all just a joke. Her confession was just playful and not serious, and they are just friends. Shida is indeed someone who likes to joke, and she sees the confession as part of her game. Maru, annoyed to hear this, can only laugh bitterly, even though his silly reaction makes Shida more amused. However, in the middle of this event, the class gets lively again because suddenly Kachi reveals that she is actually dating Mitsuru Abe, a student who is also the son of a famous actor who just debuted. Upon hearing this news, Maru without much hesitation immediately apologizes and leaves the class with a gloomy face. Shida, worried, quickly follows him and comforts him. Maru really appreciates Shida's concern, even though he feels a bit guilty after having rejected her. Shida tries to remind Maru that it was all just a game, but he calmly replies that he knows she isn't being completely honest, and there's clearly something deeper behind it all. Maru admits that even though Shida often plays the role of a responsible big sister, he knows that she sometimes wants to be pampered like a little kid. Hearing this, Shida is truly surprised and then suddenly hugs Maru from behind as a thank you for being able to see that side of her. Maru may be foolish, but he is trustworthy, Shida says jokingly, and Maru is always nice to her, even though he can be annoying at times. Shida also mentions that Maru really knows how to get on her nerves, but that's exactly what makes her like him. She honestly admits that she was a bit upset because Maru didn't choose her, but that won't change her feelings. Shida is always there for Maru, no matter what happens. Shida tries to comfort Maru, letting him vent his frustrations after hearing about Kachi. Maru, still hurting, confesses that even though he knows he should give up, he still hopes that someday Kachi will give him a chance, even if that sounds ridiculous and sad. Hearing Maru's feelings, Shida suddenly comes up with a crazy idea. What if they get revenge on Kachi? She even admits that she hasn't liked Kachi for a long time, even before this incident. Shida starts provoking Maru, making him even angrier about the situation. Eventually, Maru gives in. With overflowing emotions, he declares that he will definitely get revenge on Kachi. The next day, they begin to devise a cunning revenge plan. They plan to find Mitsuru's weaknesses, Kachi's boyfriend, and expose them in front of everyone. That way, Kachi will look like a foolish girl in love with someone unworthy, and their relationship will fall apart. Shida likes this idea, but she feels the plan is still not enough. She believes that revenge like that won't satisfy her. So, Shida takes their idea to the next level. She suggests that they pretend to be a couple. According to her, Kachi might secretly still consider Maru as a romantic option because she knows how nice he is to her. So, if Maru suddenly has a girlfriend, Kachi will feel like a second choice and experience the same pain. Maru is initially skeptical about the idea. He doubts whether the plan will actually work. But Shida keeps reassuring him until he finally agrees. To try to seal the deal, Shida even attempts to kiss Maru, but he panics and runs away, still unable to stop thinking about Kachi. After that, Maru decides to find out everything about Mitsuru by interrogating all the students at school. But unfortunately, the results are fruitless. Not a single person has any bad information about Mitsuru. Everyone only says good things about him. His efforts do not go unnoticed, and soon, Mitsuru comes directly to confront Maru. Mitsuru says that if it weren't for Maru, he probably wouldn't bother to find out. Maru is surprised because he didn't expect someone as popular as Mitsuru to know who he is. But Mitsuru explains that he only knows Maru and was shocked to discover they go to the same school. Mitsuru also knows that Maru used to be a very talented child actor but suddenly decided to retire for no clear reason. Maru is indeed known as the child of a stunt performer and a not-so-famous actress. Still, Maru's acting talent as a kid was extraordinary, and he always worked hard to become a great actor. However, for some reason, Maru decided to quit 6 years ago. When Mitsuru asks why Maru left the acting world, Maru chooses to remain silent and doesn't want to answer. Mitsuru then admits something shocking. He says the reason he became an actor is because of Maru. Mitsuru's father once worked with Maru in the past, and since then, Mitsuru has always admired him. Although Mitsuru feels he isn't as talented as Maru, he still aspires to be an actor. And it was Kachi who informed Mitsuru that Maru attends the same school as him. After doing some research, Mitsuru discovered that Maru is a former actor and decided to take advantage of that situation. It turns out Mitsuru started dating Kachi just to make Maru suffer. Mitsuru wants to bring Maru down in a direct and obvious way. Hearing this confession makes Maru extremely angry. Even so, Maru holds back and doesn't want to act rashly because he knows he could get kicked out if he does something stupid. Mitsuru then tells Maru about his plan to confess his feelings to Kachi at the school confession festival, in front of everyone. Although their agency doesn't want that relationship to be publicized, Mitsuru intends to go through with it, which means the agency won't have any choice but to acknowledge their relationship. Maru feels sickened by Mitsuru's boldness. The next day, Maru meets Kai, who had previously mentioned he would be directing a stage play. Kai immediately understands the situation and warns Maru that Mitsuru is a professional, so if they want to beat him, they need a perfect script. After thinking for a moment, they realize that the only person who can write the script they need is Kachi. This means Maru has to convince Kachi to help them, even though the situation is complicated. Just then, Shida suddenly walks into the classroom, making a commotion as she approaches Maru. Cheerfully, Shida says they have to go to school together because it's their first day pretending to be a couple. Once again, the class erupts after hearing the news that Maru and Shida are pretending to be a couple. But Kai immediately takes advantage of the chaos to push Maru toward Kachi, so Maru can talk to her without looking awkward. At first, Maru panics, but he manages to explain that they plan to stage a play, and he needs Kachi's help for it. Kachi complains for a moment, saying that a lot of people have been asking for her help since she became famous. But despite that, Kachi agrees to help, saying she always wants to support people who dare to try new things. After agreeing, they exchange phone numbers. As soon as Maru gets home, he immediately texts Kachi. Not long after that, Shida shows up as usual. Their families have been close for a long time, so Shida often comes to Maru's apartment. Seeing his messy apartment, Shida can't help but ask why it's such a mess. Maru explains that he just spent his summer vacation with his dad, and because of that, he's a bit lazy about going back to school. Shida starts tidying up and finds some old books full of childhood pictures. One picture shows little Maru with a boy. Shida asks who that kid is, and Maru says that's Kachi, the child of the sponsor of the series he starred in as a child. They used to play together a lot, and Maru clearly remembers Kachi saying she wanted him to act in one of her stories someday. Shida falls silent, just staring at the photo while thinking. However, the mood suddenly changes when Maru receives a call from Kachi. Without thinking, Maru rushes to find a place to answer the phone and goes into his room. Kachi says she wants to discuss their drama concept. But an awkward atmosphere occurs when Shida, who is in the kitchen, speaks loudly, saying that her food is ready and will get cold if she doesn't eat it soon. Kachi clearly hears Shida's voice, which makes Maru panic. He tries to explain, but Kachi just laughs casually and apologizes as she ruined their moment. Kachi even says she understands what kind of relationship Maru and Shida have, so he doesn't need to feel awkward. After the call ended, Maru went back to the kitchen and found that Shida already knew who had called. Shida immediately asked if Maru didn't find it strange that Kachi suddenly wanted to help them. Shida even warned that Kachi might be plotting with Mitsuru against Maru. According to Shida, asking for help from the girl Maru likes, and who is currently the target of revenge, is a bad idea. Shida was worried that this could be a trap from Mitsuru, and that made Maru even angrier, feeling like he was being played. Shida then asked if Maru was really ready to go ahead with this plan because the only way to beat Mitsuru was to act again, something Maru had long left behind. After years of not performing, Maru was worried that people might criticize him and compare who he is now to who he was in the past. Maru told Shida that he really appreciated her concern, but he also explained that if he didn't try now, he would regret it for the rest of his life. The next day, Maru tried to act again for the first time in years, but without warning, he suddenly fainted. When Maru regained consciousness, he found himself in the treatment room, and surprisingly, Kachi was sitting next to him. Kachi calmly handed him the script she had written based on their conversation the night before. Kachi's idea was pretty clever. She suggested that they use the school festival as the main stage, not just a regular play. According to her, to catch everyone's attention, they needed to create something different and unexpected, a drama that would blend in with the festival itself. Maru was intrigued by Kachi's idea. But before she could read the script further, Kachi asked for one thing as a reward. Kachi wanted to know why Maru suddenly stopped acting before. Maru then shared his tragic story. As a child, Maru was a star in a popular series called Child Star. His career skyrocketed, and his mom, who was also an actress, was thrilled when she was chosen to play the mother of the character Maru portrayed in the next season. However, a tragedy occurred. In one of the scenes, his mom had to pretend to be hit by a car. Even though the car didn't actually touch her, the intensity of her acting was so strong that she fell hard and suffered a concussion that led to her death. The series was almost cancelled due to the incident, but Maru fought hard to keep it going because it was his mom's dream to act in that series. Maru managed to convince the production to continue the series, and in the end, they successfully completed it with great success, breaking viewership records. After that, Maru decided to take a long break from the acting world, and the media was banned from discussing the tragic incident. Hearing this story, Kachi was so moved that she shed tears. Without hesitation, Kachi gave Maru the script she had fully written, saying that she had received the gift Maru had asked for. Kachi then went home feeling emotional, blaming herself. It turned out that Kachi used to be an awkward and insecure girl. Because of this, Kachi was often bullied at school, eventually leading her to drop out and isolate herself at home. Kachi spent her time reading books and idolizing Maru's acting in her favorite TV series as a child. Impressed by Maru, Kachi's influential father arranged a meeting between the two of them. Although Maru had initially misunderstood and thought Kachi was a boy back then, they became close friends. In the past, Kachi had told Maru that one day, she wanted to write a story in which Maru could act. And now, that dream was almost coming true. Since then, Kachi had been working really hard to perfect her writing until one day she suddenly couldn't meet Maru anymore. Kachi never knew the reason behind Maru's departure. At first, she felt angry and resentful, but as time passed, Kachi began to realize that she was actually upset because Maru was her first love. After the truth about Kachi was revealed, we return to Maru and Shida discussing the new script created by Kachi. The plan is quite unique. Kachi suggested that Maru disrupt Abe's dance moment at the confession festival by singing and dancing better than Mitsuru, catching the attention of the whole school. After the commotion occurs, Maru is asked to confess his love for Kachi in front of Mitsuru, creating a big drama that would hit Mitsuru hard. If Maru succeeds and wins, Kachi promises to accept Maru and start dating him, leaving Mitsuru in ruins. However, Shida quickly interrupts, feeling that this plan is too suspicious. For her, it's clear this is a trap. According to Shida, what Kachi really wants is for Maru to publicly confess his feelings, only to then be rejected by Kachi in front of everyone, completely humiliating Maru. Despite the risk of being embarrassed, Maru remains enthusiastic and wants to give it a try. For him, this is a fun challenge, and Maru only wants one thing, to defeat Mitsuru. Maru trains hard every day with Kai, preparing for the upcoming festival. As the celebration day arrives, the atmosphere begins to heat up. Before the event starts, Kai tells Maru that someone is looking for him. That person turns out to be Kachi, but this time, Kachi is dressed like she was when she was a child. Maru immediately recognizes her as Kachi, the boy who used to accompany him during their childhood. The real Kachi is actually hiding and keeping her distance, not wanting to be recognized by Maru right away. However, Kachi feels happy seeing Maru remember their past together. Maru even remembers the promise they made as kids. Kachi then admits that after Maru disappeared from her life, she returned to school. Maru's departure made her want to become stronger so that when they meet again, she could show the best version of herself. Kachi worked hard to improve in everything, especially in her writing, until her efforts were finally recognized with her debut as a novelist. Kachi expresses that what she has wanted all along is to be acknowledged by Maru. She went to great lengths just so one day Maru would say that she is beautiful. It was then that Kachi revealed her true identity, which shocked Maru greatly. Kachi then explains her confusion when they were kids. It turns out that Kachi misheard her name and thought she was a boy, which ultimately made her angry for years. That frustration motivated her to work hard to become more beautiful, to the point where she even appeared in magazines now. Despite that, Kachi admits that she used to hate Maru and even blamed him for her earlier confusion, until she finally learned the truth. After Kachi revealed the truth about herself, the relationship between Kachi and Maru slowly began to improve. But not long after, Shida appeared after hearing about everything that happened and warned Maru that this wasn't over yet. Shida invited Maru to walk around the festival, taking him to various attractions. Before the closing ceremony of the festival, Shida suddenly told Maru that she had decided to support him no matter what happens. Shida wanted Maru to feel free and not burdened by anything. After that, unexpectedly, Shida slapped Maru's face while explaining that their relationship was back to square one, and whatever decision Maru made was was no longer her concern. Even if Maru wanted to confess to Kachi during the confession festival later, Shida still tried to look strong, even though her tears eventually fell too. Shida ran away, saying that Maru had her full support. That incident made Maru very sad. Maru couldn't stop thinking about Shida, even as the confession festival began. When Mitsuru started performing, that's when Maru knew the plan had to be executed immediately. Maru waited for the right moment, and when Mitsuru began to sing and dance, Maru jumped onto the stage and openly challenged Mitsuru. Maru captured everyone's attention with his amazing singing and dancing. When his performance was over, the entire audience erupted in applause. Mitsuru just smiled and left the stage, looking proud to know that Maru's talent was still exceptional. However, the next part of Maru's plan shocked everyone. Instead of confessing his feelings to Kachi as written in the script, Maru confessed to Shida instead. Everyone fell silent in shock, but Maru explained that Shida had always been there for him. Thanks to Shida's support, Maru was able to keep moving forward. Maru's heartfelt and touching words made everyone wait for Shida's response. However, unexpectedly, Shida rejected Maru's feelings with a smile on her face. The incident threw the festival into chaos, and everyone was stunned by Shida's rejection. After the festival ended, Kai met Mitsuru and finally learned the real plan. It turned out that Mitsuru had intentionally played the villain. Mitsuru admitted that Kachi was like a sister to him, and Kachi had always liked Maru. However, since Maru left, Mitsuru was determined to take revenge. The plan was to make Maru fall in love, only to then reject him and break his heart. But Shida confessed first, completely ruining Mitsuru's plan. In confusion, Kachi felt nervous and lied. Kachi said that she was dating Abe, then decided to play the villain so Maru wouldn't hate her. All of this was done to make Maru act again because Kachi had always admired Maru and wanted Maru to perform once more. Kai also realized that Mitsuru wasn't really a bad guy as he seemed. But even so, Kai still listened to Abe's heartache. Mitsuru said that in the end, everyone lost in this situation. Kachi was sad, Shida regretted her decision, and of course, Maru felt like a loser. After being humiliated in front of the entire school, Maru was really down for the next few days. That bitter experience kept haunting his mind, making it hard for him to go through his days as usual. Meanwhile, Shida also regretted her decision. She rejected Maru out of revenge, but deep down, she still had feelings for him. On the other hand, Kachi was captivated by Maru's outstanding performance at that time, even though the rejection still made her cry every night. When Maru returned to school, he was greeted with a surprise. His name suddenly became famous. Kai, without Maru's knowledge, had uploaded a video of the chaos at the festival to the internet. The video went viral in just 3 days, giving Maru a terrible nickname. Every morning event discussed him and his situation with the two girls, making him even more frustrated. Maru immediately wanted to yell at Kai for his reckless actions, but before he could, a girl named Maria Mamosaka suddenly burst into the classroom. Maria hugged Maru tightly, saying that she missed him so much. The students around them immediately went wild, recognizing Maria as a famous actress. Maru welcomed Maria warmly, even though he was clearly confused. Kachi and Shida, seeing this moment, quickly approached them with suspicious looks, demanding an explanation. Maria quickly explained that she came from the same agency as Maru when they were kids. As his senior, she used to take care of Maru and taught him everything about the acting world. However, one day, Maru suddenly disappeared without a word, making Maria lose track of him. When she saw the viral festival video, she couldn't help but rush to see Maru again. Maru understood, but he asked Maria to let go of her hug because, with her massive popularity, the situation could easily be misinterpreted by others. Maria casually replied that it didn't matter if people thought that way because Maru was her first love. That statement left the whole class in shock. Even Kachi and Shida fell silent for a moment. In the midst of the chaos, Maru finally forgave Kai in exchange for some delicious pizza. He couldn't stay too mad because the video Kai uploaded turned out to be an unexpected advertisement that could revive his acting career. Maru then asked where Kai got the delicious pizza from. Just then, a girl named Rina Asagi appeared and handed him a business card. Rina said she could do anything for money. Kai casually explained that he had hired Rina to help record the festival video because she was very skilled. Rina also saw great potential in Maru as someone who could be profitable, so she offered her services in exchange for the pizza that Kai ordered for them. Not long after that, Maru received news that Kachi's father, who was both a sponsor and a good friend of his dad, wanted to meet him. They hadn't seen each other in a long time, and Kachi's dad was worried about Maru's situation. After a while, things began to calm down, especially since the press suddenly stopped digging into Maru's situation. It seemed that someone influential had managed to put a stop to it. However, the relationship between Maru and Shida still felt complicated after the incident at the festival, making Maru too afraid to face Shida directly. One day, when Maru got home, he was surprised to find Maria already inside his house, preparing dinner. Somehow, Maria had managed to find Maru's house key. She even cooked Maru's favorite dish, exactly like the recipe his mom used to teach him. Maru, who was initially shocked by Maria's presence, slowly smiled as he remembered his mother. Quickly, he forgot the fact that Maria had just broken into his house. After dinner, Maru decided to ask if Maria was responsible for stopping the press from chasing news about him. Maria nodded, confirming that she just needed to make a few phone calls to calm things down. Maru was a bit surprised to learn that Maria had such influence, but he was still thankful for her help. Maria calmly explained that she could get this far thanks to Maru. She felt very grateful and shared that for years, she hesitated to meet Maru again, especially because of how they parted ways before. However, when the festival video went viral, it became the perfect reason for her to approach Maru again. Seeing Maru in the video made Maria confident that he was still the person she admired so much. Meeting him again after all this time really touched her. Maria then gave Maru a business card that turned out to belong to Sean Hardy, the president and CEO of Hardy Productions. She explained that after watching the festival video, Sean was interested in Maru and asked her to convince him to return to the acting world. Suddenly, Maru realized that it was getting very late. He began to consider meeting Shida directly, but at that moment, he noticed the 2 business cards that Maria had given him. Maria explained that the president of Hardy Productions also wanted to meet Shida after watching the festival video. According to him, Shida had the potential to be an actress, or at least had an attractive face. While discussing this, suddenly, Shida's sisters tried to enter Maru's house. Maria panicked and quickly hid, while Maru opened the door. As soon as the door opened, Midori, Akane, and Aoi appeared with worried expressions. The oldest among them, Midori, quickly explained that there was a serious problem with Shida. Maru felt confused and shocked to hear that Shida was experiencing amnesia. They explained that Shida didn't remember anything since the day Maru confessed to her and Maru rejected her. With everything that had happened, Shida began to feel extremely stressed. Seeing this condition, Shida's sisters decided to give Maru some space by leaving. But before they left, Akane gave Maru one important piece of advice. If he really intended to return to the acting world, he should do it for the right reasons. Akane suggested that Maru have positive motivation and not just want to escape from love. This decision, she said, was one of the most important ones in Maru's life.